That would be my guess.
Okay,
Completely uneducated opinion on
I
what
can
that
see
might
that.
be, but that would be my theory if I was forced to give it, which I wasn't. Who asked, bro? Who asked? Honestly, my least favorite thing on the internet. That's complete random aside, but that is genuinely my least favorite trend on the internet for a long time.
Welcome to ScavTalk, Escape from Tarkov Podcast with a continued focus on developing the game, patch note analysis, theory crafting, and drone gameplay discussion. My name is Church. I'm one of your hosts. I am a video editor for Airwing Marine, a Tarkov YouTuber.
And I'm GigaBeef, a Tarkov YouTuber, helping you guys get better at the game. And welcome back to ScavTalk, everybody. How has your week been, Mr. Church? What's been going on?
It's been good, man. It's been good. Been doing some grinding on some Tarkov, some real gamer degen hours type of stuff going on. I just had a daily where I had to kill scavs with the mountain machine gun.
I think I saw you post that on Twitter.
Yeah. I thought it was a weekly, but turns out it was a daily because I had to kill 8 scavs in total. The reason I did it, however, was because it's going to give me 2 military corrugated hoses, and those things are quite expensive and rare commodities.
How much are they still now? Are they still 1,000,000 rubles or something?
Yes.
That's pretty insane. But the bigger question is, okay, so why you did it, that's fine. How on earth did you kill 8 scouts with the Manta machine gun? I've got no idea. Like, I'm not even sure which one it is. Is it the one
So,
on Customs, the Vishala
mhm,
building? Is that one?
yes. Not the
And there's
grenade
some on reserve
launcher.
too. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Any of the big MGs.
Yes. So I looked. That was my first thought immediately, was going to customs. I had to do setup as well. I had like 4
Mhm.
more kills. So customs was my first go-to, and basically the one at Stronghold, like the Rashut, the new area, that new construction area. There's 2 mountain guns there pointed towards crack house is kind of like the common terminology, that the medical building.
Yeah.
And there's no scavs that go that way, like AI scavs at least. So, like, okay, let's do the one at construction because there's one at construction aiming towards bridge. But there was no scavs spawning on the road, like the bridge and the road that sort of like
Mm.
curves into that scav extract that leads to dorms. I managed to get like 2 from RUAF roadblock by like shooting at them, like actually going down
I
to
see.
RUF, shooting at them, getting them to like path towards me.
So bait them in.
So yeah, so I was quickly realizing that this is just not working. Then I tried reserve, and after a bunch of experimentation, the MG up at Dome is great because you're so far away that even when the scavs aggro at you, they're not going to hit you most of the time. And you have so much line of sight because you can hit, anyone crossing between the night buildings, potentially even someone going towards a server or queen or king, whatever you want to call it, and then out in like the bunker area as well. Because originally I was doing it on top of train yards MG, and what would happen is I would get shot from behind near like the tanks and the fields because you can't
Yeah.
really cover that, or I would get shot to the far left where they'd be on top of the bunker alarm. Where what is that called? The barracks, I guess what you would say.
Yeah. Is that normal scavs even? Not raiders or
Yes,
anything?
normal scavs, and they would be just out of my line of sight. Like you can only go so far left or right with the MG. Anyways, it was pretty fun actually. I got like, you know, I did it because of the rewards, the extrinsic
Yeah.
value, but I did get a lot of intrinsic fun out of it. So
I
I
think
liked it.
something like that is the exact reason as to why the daily quests are entertaining, because it's something that you wouldn't ever go and do on your own.
Right.
You wouldn't even probably make that challenge up on your own. And it gives you something that's quite rewarding, but it makes you think creatively about how
Yeah.
exactly to complete that task. Because when you put up that post, I thought, oh, that's just a funny, look at that really funny thing that Church has put up. No one's ever going to complete that. Because I was just thinking the two in customs and then maybe reserve, something like that. But I forgot about the one up at Dome, to be honest with you. I forgot that there was one mounted there. And as you say, that's perfect, actually. So yeah, it's good. That's the reason why these quests are decent, because they make you think outside the box and you can complete them. If there's a good enough reward, then sometimes you can problem solve it out and do it. And that's kind of the point, I
Yeah.
think. Which is pretty good. Yeah, I mean, on my side, I've basically just been kind of pushing quests that are easy in terms of getting XP is really what I've been trying to do. My PMC I've dragged kicking and screaming up to level 30, and I think I'm at level 32 now. So I've just hit Ragman 2, sorry, 3, Ragman 3. So I have access to some of the class 5 stuff a little
Okay.
bit. So there's potential for tactic and things like that. And then
Yeah.
some of the really banging class 4
Mm-hmm.
barters. So the
Mm-hmm.
M1, M2, those guys. So that's good. That's good. That's helped. So I've kind of pulled myself through a bunch of those quests. I'm still dancing around trying to do this or that or the other one. It's it's not that easy to decide which ones to do, honestly. I'm really trying to min max my IRL time to get the most XP that I can in the shortest possible time. I've kind of
Yeah.
put Punisher on hold. I was on Punisher 4 and I got 4 out
Yeah.
of 10, but I got a bit bored of doing shoreline and wearing
Right.
the vest. So I've just been doing other stuff, which is fine. And
Yeah.
I've been spending a lot of the rest of the time just looking at content and new things and different things and interesting stuff, which I guess we can talk about in a bit in more detail, some of the recoil stuff, but we can go through that later. So before we do that, news wise, there's not actually a huge amount this week, is all I would say,
Mm-hmm.
really.
Mm-hmm.
The green battery barter was added to the hideout so that now people can craft them. I think they're still 400k or something, so they're
Yeah.
pretty expensive still. However, they with this barter, well, it's a craft, isn't it? It's a specific craft. It's workbench, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, and the power banks are the thing. All the stuff spiked for them, obviously, but the power banks in particular were, when I last looked, 100k. I actually haven't bothered doing it. Just as a complete side note, I haven't
Oh,
bothered
really?
because you can get to Bitcoin 3 even without doing any of that stuff. All that
That's
does is
true.
give you the library, and you need those manuals to do the library, and they're really expensive anyway. You can't even buy them. People aren't putting, or they go instantaneously anyway. So, and that's in raid XP, of which I'm getting some because
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing, but I'm getting a lot of my XP from quests. So it doesn't have. I'm not grinding tons and tons of headshots or tons of raiders or something. It's not really the same. So I've put that one a little bit on the back burner, and I'm just waiting for prices to calm down, because they will. Is what I'm doing with that anyway. I don't know whether you've upgraded it or not.
I did actually, because I just once that craft came out, I decided, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Instead of buying them, because I think they were going for about 1 million a pop before the craft came out. So I think I bought 2 and then crafted 3 to do the library, because
Okay.
I already had the manuals and whatnot. So,
Mm. See, I don't have any manuals. Oh no, I have one. I
mm,
have one that's in my scav case, just sat there, just in the junk box, just waiting. I don't know why, really. It just is there. And I looked and thought maybe I should even sell this, but because of the way the flea fee works, all the ones that come up, people. I think Tucker Reporter put something up on Twitter showing that most
yes.
people putting those up are actually losing money by selling them at the price they're selling them at. And I did a bit of a 100k, 200k, 300k, 400k, trying to
Mhm.
find the threshold, because it's not actually that easy finding the threshold of maximum profit, and you don't make that much. I think you can only make 250k or something along those lines.
Still pretty good.
It's good,
Yeah.
but it's not good enough for me to want to try to sell it. I think at this point,
Hmm.
I'm just going to hold on to it until I need it, because I don't need the 250k right away. I spent the rest of my time doing Bitcoin farm stuff, so I had 10 ready to go in, and I think I had 18, and then I did Bitcoin 2 really quickly. Actually, it happened straight away. It was just a big chain of events because once your intelligence center's level 2, then the Bitcoin farm's upgrading, and then but because that's mechanic 3, it all just just chains around the hideout, and then as soon as everything else was done, it's like, well, Bitcoin 2 is now ready. So I bought another couple of cards and stuffed that in. So now I've got 25 for
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin 2, which is what I've been focusing on more so. So the cash now is slightly less problematic. Oh, and the scav case, of course, which takes a really long time to make. A really, really long time to make. I forgot how long it was. I clicked it and thought, okay, I'm going to see this about 3 days later, which is actually insane. But yeah, so the green battery barter was added. The Christmas event is over. Everybody's reading about Santa and minus 3,000 scav reputation. It is what it is. And yeah, there's not been a great deal of other updates. Is there anything else? Oh, actually, there was the thing that you posted to me, which is the upgrade, the server upgrades that they did.
Yeah.
Which I don't know whether you've noticed any difference, but the game seems pretty snappy to me in the menus, and it feels like it did before, back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say anything different, you know. So, same as usual for me. Same performance and whatnot.
Yeah, it does just feel snappy and not having to go through. I think the queue in the evening maybe still goes up a bit. It's actually quite interesting to see the difference in the player base because if I play in the European day, there's really no problems at all. It's completely
Mhm.
fine. You try to get on in the afternoon,
Yeah.
evening when all of you guys are on, and it's just huge queues. Everyone's backed
Yeah.
up. It's quite impressive, actually. It's quite impressive that for a game that's based in Eastern Europe, but still the European continent, that the following is so huge in the States. It's actually
Yeah.
the same. If you look at the channel metrics, actually, it's the same thing. It's like 50% US.
Wow.
So it's not really much of a surprise, but it's still interesting to see just how much impact that actually does have
Yeah.
on the game. So yeah, I don't know. Was there anything else that we've missed? There, I think that was all the news.
Yeah, as far as, like, I would say mainstream news, I wanna say there was a Nice Guy video where he talked about a few things. I can't recall them off the top of my head, but minor stuff like some changes and whatnot. There has been a bit of a circulation of M61 scavs. I don't know if you've
Mm.
seen it on Twitter and even some YouTube videos,
I
but,
saw, yeah, I saw some people talking about it, but I haven't seen it in game.
okay, yeah, because I noticed it a couple of days ago doing some interchange runs trying to find Killa.
Mm.
I would, like, shoot at something thinking it's Killa, and then it turns out just a scav with a gas mask because it's like this big blocky headpiece that interchanges real dark.
Yeah.
And then all the scavs, because I was using RFB that was unsuppressed, all the scavs would just, like, congregate to my little closet I was hiding in shooting from.
The RB is a loud gun.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it is, and it sounds really nice too with all the new sound files they got in for the different guns. One of the scavs I killed had a Vepr Hunter, and I was like, "Oh, look at the mag," because he had 10 rounders, and it was all M61s. And this is
Amazing.
at, like, the early point of the raid, and not too long ago, like, maybe yesterday or the day before that, I killed a scav on Shoreline on my way out, and he had a hunter, and I was like, "I'm gonna check that," and sure enough, he had M61, so definitely check not player scavs, AI scavs, 'cause I'm pretty positive it's only AI scavs that can spawn with it.
Ah, interesting. Okay, I hadn't really noticed, but that is interesting because I hadn't noticed it on my player scavs at all, which is kind of where
Mhm.
I thought it was happening. And I have been a little bit lazy with checking other. It's because I've been questing so hard. A lot of the time, I'm actually not really looting, especially if
Mhm.
somebody's out in anywhere remote, in any kind of dangerous situation. I just think, well, I will leave it because I either have something in my backpack or there's a quest item or whatever that I need to take out. And so I've been very diligent with not doing that. And I'm making money in other ways. I don't know whether you've noticed this, but the flea market is really volatile. And I don't know whether it's just to do with this two slot thing, but the flea market is incredibly volatile. I thought the wires trade had gone. I mentioned it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I thought the wires trade had gone. It was gone in terms of like crazy profits, but
When you say wire trade, you mean wires
oh,
craft?
the craft. Sorry, the wires
Okay,
craft.
just
Yes, the
making sure.
wires
Yeah,
craft.
yeah.
I thought the wires craft was not dead, but now it was normal and makes you decent profit without being ridiculous. Because what I was doing was buying the power cords for
Mm-hmm.
17, 18, 20K
Mm-hmm.
in European hours and then selling wires for 20K each in US hours. And it was just it was ludicrous. It really was ludicrous. And I thought it had gone because power cords there was a period where they were 40,000, 35, 40,000, and the wires were selling for 13, 12, 13, which you're starting to get to the point where it's really converged. And then I chilled on it a bit and did a few others. But then when I started, I did some today and yesterday, and again I sold a load for 20K and bought a load for of the power cords for 18. So again, it was like back to huge profits. So there just seems to be some really massive swings on all things. And I was doing some work for some other videos as well about fuel and some barters
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. And it's just the range of prices that you see hour to hour, the day. So you've got long-term price changes. You've got between the day when different people are on in the session. So in the day, you typically don't have as many people, it seems to me, looting. And you end up with there's a lot of people who have crafted stuff, but not that many people looting. So power cords will go up in the day, I think, because all of the casual people who are farming stuff in the evening are not there, but people who are on in the day who are crafting and buying those are there. So they're buying the power cords and selling the wires, and so that spread comes down, and then the evening appears and it all widens back out again.
Hmm.
It's very strange, and then but then within the sort of hour periods, these things can swing dramatically from one side to the other. If you look at propane
Yeah.
from 1 minute to the next, it's 22K one time and then it's 50K the next. It's very, very odd. It's super, super, super
Well,
random.
with the propane, and it might follow the similar logic, just in a different manner with what you were saying about wires. I suspect it's what happens is Jaeger resets. People go do the barter. Maybe they don't have enough propane. Then again, I don't know because and I question it because typically what you want to do is have all your items already purchased. So then as soon as the trader resets, all you have to do is just spam refresh and spam buy to try to get it. I don't know. Maybe though what's happening is people just buy all their stuff in one fell swoop and then that just drives the price up. But I do really think that the two listing limitation does play into a role of the market being volatile. For my own like preference, I just always sell like the undercut everyone. I'll maybe undercut like the, you know, two or three at the top. I could probably, like wires, I usually sell for like 14K. I could probably sell them for 20K. I don't want to take the risk of them not selling because man, it sucks having two slots, dude. It
Yeah,
sucks.
exactly. Exactly. At this point, I'm doing more of the if they're not the right price, I just keep them in the junk box and then leave it and just wait. And I've been doing
Yeah.
much more of that rather than leaving stuff up on the flea. And I think that now, if you're patient, I actually think there's probably more opportunity now than there ever has been
Yes.
because exactly like you're saying, I come out of a scav raid and there's 25 items I need to sell. It's really miserable, honestly. It's really
Yeah.
miserable. So if you're the person on the other side and you're patient, you wait, refresh a few times, something like that, then you can buy stuff super cheap because people are offloading at prices that are 3,000 lower than the prevailing price, I guess you should say. One little kind of tweak that I've been trying to use a little bit, it was useful on very high turnover items, things like wires, things like
Mhm.
bolts and screws, that sort of type of item that has crazy turnover. You know, the one where you press F5 and then the page refreshes. And if you wait 3 or 4 seconds, you know that every item on the whole page will probably be
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you try to buy an item, it forces a refresh. which is kind of useful. So you can buy, even if it's not the price that you want, you can try to buy it after 1 or 2 seconds because you know it's gone, and then it forces the refresh before your refresh button has actually come back up, which is kind of cool. You can get more refreshes than you would otherwise be able to. It's like this, like the minorest min-maxy thing. Little
Yeah,
tiny things like that, they just make me happy, you know? They
yeah,
just make me happy.
I respect it.
So so I was doing a little bit of that, but I think you really can. I think you can really get some great deals if you're patient, willing to press F5 a
Yeah,
couple of times and wait for the things, because people sell them really cheap. Even when the power chords one, I just keep going on about it because it's making money hand over fist. Like, honestly, you make out like a bandit. But even when power chords are going for 25, 30K, people still list them for 18, 19, 17, 21,
hmm
20, whatever. And you can just refresh and hoover them up. It's not that bad. It's not actually that bad. So I don't know. I found that it's, yeah, the flea market's making a lot of money. There's a lot of opportunity, but it's also frustrating because of the offloading of this 2 item thing. But I don't know. Yeah, I wanted to see what your experience was with it. But it seems kind of similar. I think everyone's in the same boat. Even Pestily, I watched his update video, just
yeah,
thoughts after about 12.12 now, after we've had it for a bit. And he did mention the 2 slot and that he's selling lots of stuff to traders as well. So there must be that going on too. Yeah, I don't know whether it's made the game better or not, the 2 slot limit specifically.
yeah. I kind of in the same boat. I mean, I would just say it's made it different in that, you know, you if you're not very a very patient person, a very opportunistic person, you're going to just sell to the vendors or, undercut the top guy or the lowest
Mm,
listing offer. Like, I was thinking, like, if I really wanted to maximize this, because in some ways you could argue you can make more money now than before, as you're saying. Like, if you just had scav boxes, and you filled all your items, like, just filled them to the full, and then, like, you waited at the right time of day to sell each individual item, you could really make some money off of that.
mm.
Um, so, yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I think it's different, and possibly you can make more money, but at the same time, it's just really frustrating, man. If you try to sell a weapon part, my best advice is like don't sell weapon parts unless they're like used for gunsmith because it's just God, dude, it's miserable. If you have one that does not sell, half of your slots are gimped. So that means the next item you have to just sit there and do nothing. If you go into a raid, it's like as soon as you load in, it's gonna sell. If it, you so you sit there for a minute, you can't do anything. Like that's the part that bugs me. Is like before it was just enough you could like sell a huge stack, and then maybe you would get locked, but you would probably have like sold 70% of your stack or 80%. Now it just feels like I sell like 20% and I get locked. Really frustrating.
I know, yeah, I'm definitely strategic. It's actually brought up some different questions, completely tangential to the, well,
Mhm.
sort of, it's related. But with the 2 slots, I'm now even, I actually put this in that flea market video I made ages ago about being strategic about what stuff to put when and selling the high turnover items first and then the low turnover stuff later,
Mhm.
because you
Yeah,
can clear
yeah.
through most of it and get rid of it, and then you can slowly work on those ones as you come out of raid, or if you don't have anything to sell specifically for that one, or you can just, yeah, keep them to one side and slowly get rid of them as time goes on. Now I'm even more like that, but then it's raised more questions for me, such as, okay, every wipe I end up with not enough XP and too much money. Should I even bother so much? My
Right.
time is being spent in the wrong place. My time is being spent min-maxing on the cash, but who cares? Because there's so much bartery, trader level-y stuff going on that I should just spend more time in raids. So I'm actually doing less scav raids than I was, especially ones for. Normally, I'll do them now to get certain items. I'm trying to use it enough so that I get I actually forgot about Ushankers and cowboy hats. Duh, completely forgot. Didn't save any of them. Just hit that quest because I wasn't expected to do Ragman for a while, and ended up doing it for the levels. And I hit interchange, but I forced myself and just did loads of them there. And I've run into that quest, and so I'm cycling my scav to try and get Ushanka and cowboy hat spawns because it's so quick and easy. But at the same time, I'm not doing any more of those big runs. But even outside of that as well, there's things like the crafting itself. Oh, in the hideout, you got to cycle the crafts and you got to
Mm-hmm.
maximize your crafting
Mm-hmm.
skill, whatever. I didn't even make max crafting and hideout last wipe, and I'm not on 24/7, but I did a lot of crafting and a lot of hideout stuff, and I didn't make it. And people who were doing it all the time made it like 3 weeks before the end of the wipe. What is the point? I'm now running profitable stuff only. I don't care about cycling. I'm just making money in the hideout. I'm really not bothered. I don't actually feel at this point that the crafting skill. I haven't done the maths. I'm going to be honest with you, but I don't think it makes up for it doing the bad crafts just for rep, or for skill points, I should say. I
I
don't think it
gotcha.
makes up for it because the idea is at the end when you're doing two crafts in the
Right.
same station, blah blah blah, that it makes up for it. But it makes up for it when you're really rich, right at the end when you don't need it. And I want it
Yeah.
now, and so
Right.
it's kind of all in the wrong place. So
Huh.
it's made me rethink a few things.
Yeah,
Really
it's
made me rethink a few
it's
things.
interesting. I do feel that there is a big importance on XP this wipe as far as progressing, just because the gear is locked behind traders, the really good stuff. Money, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have the level requirement, you can't get the good stuff. So that is kind of been my strategy is spend the money and just upgrade the hideout. Like honestly, this is probably one of the first wipes that I've gotten library so late. Like I just started the upgrade today. So it'll probably be ready
Yeah,
tomorrow, but it just feels really weird to have library at like level 35 or 36, whatever I'm at. It's just kind of
yeah.
weird.
I know what you mean. The levels do seem out of whack because I was talking. Which one was it? I think it was Chemical Part 4. And I was talking to a bunch of people about how I was worried about Chemical Part 4 because I had so many issues last time because handing in the stuff, and then I destroyed my reputation with Prapor and with
Hmm.
Therapist, is it, I think?
Yeah.
It's Therapist. Prapor and Therapist. And they were both on the threshold of the next trader rep, and I tanked both of them and ended up getting stuck for ages. But it was because the flea market was level 20, and I did chemical really, really early. And
Hmm.
people were saying, well, you just buy the trader rebuy makeup quest stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, of course, because we have the fleet, and I was halfway through level like 25 or something, and I just forgot because I had burnt in my mind last time from getting hurt by it and forgot about it. So yeah, all the levels seem kind of pushed up. I guess with extra dailies and things, the where you'd expect to be versus where you are in the progression is different, and it all feels kind of a bit weird. Your idea of where you are within that cycle
Hmm.
has changed a bit. So even small things, it's kind of minor, but it makes a difference mentally to how far you think you are through as well. I'm sort of surprised that I'm level 32 in some ways. I don't know. What level are you?
think I'm 35 or 36. I'm pretty sure,
Okay.
I think I'm 36 because I just hit it turning in that daily quest with the MG. Um, the what's I gonna say about Punisher Part 3, shooting the scavs on customs with the AKS-74U.
Mm.
I wanna say I remember having Mechanic 3, so you can buy the really good handguard for that quest in the past.
Because you spoke actually about this one 2 weeks ago, maybe. You're talking about
Yeah,
the Goliath, and then the really nice is it XRS something something
r
something, and it's got the
yes.
bit that goes back, and you can put the sight on it nice
Yeah.
and close to your face, and all of that stuff. But yeah, didn't have didn't have that.
Didn't have access to that, and I wanna say in the past, I typically had access, so that meant I was, what, level 30-ish? But maybe that was just maybe I bought the flea market, maybe I got off a player and used it. It's hard to say, but yeah, progression does feel very all over the place. Like I want to move on to another topic, but
Yeah.
talking about you unlocked Ragman level 3, you said.
Yes.
And I noticed that Ragman 3 plus Peacekeeper 3 and maybe Mechanic 3. I don't know, but we'll say those 3 guys. They got some really good stuff on them, man. Like some
Yeah, they
really good
absolutely
stuff.
do. I mean, Peacekeeper 3, when you first unlock Peacekeeper 3, that's when you get some of the good juicy things, but you're missing a few parts. So you get
Mhm.
MOE butt pad and stock and a load of the grips that are really nice. You get the Magpul ones that fit straight onto
Yeah.
weapons, and that fits onto so many handguards, as well as the AFGs as well. He sells them all, I believe. And then there's
Mhm.
more muzzles, more suppressors. There's just so much stuff from him. The thing I was missing from Mechanic 3 was MP7 30 rounders, which is what I really, really wanted to use
Mhm.
for the longest time, because the MP7, anywhere that's not kind of long range ish, just rips everybody a new one.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I did do a bunch of dorms with 20s and it works, but that gun spews ammo like
Yeah.
crazy. I had 5 and I ran out of bullets. It was actually one of the drop streams one that I did, and had a ridiculous fight with 2 dudes, killed them, and then 2 scavs came into dorms and I ended up running out of ammo, having an AI scav outside the door, packing a mag while he was just stood there, or packing a bunch of mags, and then doing some kind of like weird. So there was a player scav came in then with a grenade, it went off, burst out, killed like one guy, reloaded, killed the second, and sprinted out of dorms. It was actually pretty cool. But with the 20s, you don't really get much leeway because of the fire rate. And yeah, it's got that ammo disappears in a complete flash, and even with 5 mags, I ran out in a just a general kind of dorms fight with sort of 3 different people. I ended up running out because you need your ammunition for lots of stuff. Honestly, I think you come
Yeah.
to realize it when you end up using some smaller mags for a little while. You realize how important it is that you have those rounds to be able to fire around the corner to sight people out. I have been doing some better plays in general. I'm just sort of my mind's sort of spinning off and thinking about this. But there's a couple of fights I had against. There was one against a duo. They were quite low level, so I felt a little bit bad about it. Slash, not that it was actually that epic. But I was leaning around and there was a door, and the guy had the door in the way, and I shot just through the door a couple of times, made him move and stuff. So there's some cool things like that. But you need the ammo for that. I'm actually experimenting, and this may well. I think this is going to turn into something I don't know. But I'm experimenting with what we've talked about previously about um, the durability mechanics
Yeah.
and the 93% thing, and why no one really uses the 60s anymore because everyone's scared about mag block chat, whatever, more failure to feed
Right.
chances. But
Yes.
I don't think you can get one above
I
93%.
think you're right. Which
And
doesn't
without overheating, so long as you don't overheat the gun, you can
Yeah.
still use the big mags, I believe. So I'm toying with some stuff in that department. I don't really have any results as of yet, but yeah, I don't know. So anyway, so the MP7 I think is gonna be great. They're sold out all the time, the 30 rounders, which shows that they're good. And the subsonic ammo is sold out all the time. I think that's partly because
Yes.
Landmark was using it, but that's got something to do with what some of the things that have been going around and some of the stuff that I put
Yeah.
out recently as well about the ammo. And then yeah, Ragman 3. I've not had the pleasure of using him too much yet, but I bought one of the M2 rigs with
Mhm.
the barter just because I could, and so I just put it in my stash. But I can get the tech from him too. I actually forget what he has on him completely, but I think it's the
I
so at
think it's
that
a
point,
tag
once you
tech.
yeah, tech, I think is that the only level 5 you can get from him though? I must be wrong about that.
I
I didn't spend too
think
long looking at him.
you can get a Gen 4 mobility, or what are the
Yes, you're
Gen
right.
4s?
You're right.
But I think
Yeah.
it's locked behind a quest now, and I might be
Uh,
wrong. But
yes. I think you might be right, because I had a quick look and I remember there wasn't actually a great deal that I could get,
mhm.
and it was the tactic for straight away, and I can get the Gazelle with the barter. Yes, that's the one. You can get the Gazelle with the barter. I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
probably
the
the
other
one
one.
that I think that's the one that I'm going to use quite a bit. I think people really dislike that armor, but for the price, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. It's low durability and doesn't repair very well, but it's okay. It's better than the Corund in some ways. But I've been using that a little bit too. But that's really expensive because that's only the diaries too. I don't know. Level 5 is in a weird place. I'm not sure exactly how that fits in as of yet. I don't know. I just haven't decided. The part of the problem comes back to how, as I said before, everyone's the second coming of John Wick these days. So I die to headshots constantly. So I just think, well, should I be buying level 5 all the time for 140,000 rubles or whatever it is when it comes out with the barter for the cheapest, worst possible class 5 armor when someone with Makarov ends up headshotting me, which happens all the time. I get headshot all the time. It's crazy. But anyway, so yeah, going back to your point, between those three traders, you get some real good stuff. You really, really do get some real good stuff.
Yeah.
So the super cheap barter, the M2 rig is crazy. That barter is really, really good. And then to be
Now,
able to kit your guns out properly, it's nice.
what is the M2 barter? Because I only recall the M3, or sorry, M1.
Everyone loves the Aquamari and what's
Right.
the other part to it? I don't remember because I've
Kvass.
not been doing that one. Oh, Kvass and Aquamari, yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
But
it's
they're really expensive. The other one is weird. The other one is Kiva face shields
yeah, I'm looking at it now.
and is it?
Colpack
Oh,
visors
sorry,
and
compact visors and
round frame glass.
yes, and the sunglasses. Exactly. And this is great now because this is the problem when you do something on it, when there's so many things, and then it's a few weeks later, like I've already forgotten, so I kind of have to go and watch my own thing. I'll go back through my own notes to figure out what they are. Go and look because I do actually forget quite often. But the round frame glasses were part of the hex barter, which is
Right.
now gone. So the round frame sunglasses are really cheap. The visor is kind of cheap anyway because
Mm-hmm.
it's not that well used. But then there's a chainlet barter for the
For the
visor
visor.
as
Yeah.
well, and
Yeah.
so you can get
I
that.
saw
You can
that.
get that really, really cheap. It's three chainlets are normally about 6, so you get 18k for that part. Round frames can be 7, 8, something like that. So 24 for that part. So you're looking at 50k. You can get it for cheaper than the rat rig, and it's good. It's got, I think it's 50% more durability than the M2, and it's decent size. It's huge. No one ever takes it.
Right.
It's it's the perfect rig, Church. It's the perfect rig. No one takes it. It has no 2x2. So for me, that's perfect. No one's going to take my helmet out in my own bag, which I absolutely hate. I hate that. I understand why people like the TV 110 and
Yeah.
the M1 and the AVS because if you're a mega chad and you run around and you've got one on yourself and you're killing everybody, you can min max tons of loot in there. You can put the rig in your bag. It
Mm-hmm.
stacks. It's like a container. That's fine. The problem is I die half of the time, and that happens to me. So
Yeah.
they use
Yeah.
my bag as a big sack, and so those ones I tend to try and avoid a little bit and get a bit more back on insurance. And I think that one's perfect because it's only 2x1 slots, huge 4x4 in the bag, so it sucks to take, and it's super cheap.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's great. It's
Yeah.
great. It's going to replace my rat rigs, I think,
Yeah.
at this point.
I'm gonna do the same. Now you've
Hmm.
totally convinced me on it for like my throwaway slash budget runs. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna start doing
That's
that.
good. But yeah, those three dudes are good. Have you been using anything else from any of those guys? I mean, the MDR 56A1 is a good one as well.
No, because like I said, I've been doing silent caliber and setup, so
Ah,
have to wear a armored vest. I've been doing the Thor armor, which is like a class 4. I don't even know if it's even that good. I think it's like slightly better than the rat rig, if I'm not
it's
mistaken.
very similar. It is slightly better, but it's very, very
Okay.
similar.
And the Gazelle, because I gotta get a Gazelle back through insurance that's 50% less
Same here.
durability, unless I find one. And then what was the Karuns, because at the time I had the barter with the diaries, which I mean usually you get it for around 120k, sometimes less, like very often less in my experience. Because the diaries you could get for like sometimes like 36k, 32k. You only need 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
And now that I have Trapper 4, you can buy them straight up, 2 per reset for like 110,000 rubles or something. So it's interesting because back when the Karun first came out, dude, that I think it was purchasable level 3 Prapper just straight for rubles, and everyone had class 5 armor. So class 5
Yeah.
is definitely like feels like, the low is like P.A.K.A. and whatever you can scavenge from a scav, and then the, like, I don't know, average would be class 4, and then the top is class 5.
Yeah, at the
So,
moment, yes, that does
yeah.
seem to be the case for sure. I do remember when they brought it in, and it was incredibly cheap to repair. Do you remember that was the reason why people loved it so much because it would either come back or you take one off someone else, and it was 15K or something to repair it, and they changed all the prices, so it ended up being a lot more to
Mhm.
repair back. And it wasn't just
That's
that one, but that
true.
was the one they changed the most, I believe, back
Okay.
when it came out. But yeah, I saw someone in chat actually for anybody else who was thinking about doing the Gazelle one because I need that too. Sergey was saying that there's 0 to 50% actually appear quite frequently on fence. Something that I always forget to check. I always forget to check fence for lots of
Yeah.
things. I think, given that we're talking about it, I saw a post from Airwing. He was talking to somebody else on Twitter, and he said that he actually got a lot of his manuals from fence when people were just selling them there, didn't realize they were worth a lot, and he bought them
Wow.
all for about 5K, which
Wow.
which is pretty nuts. Which is
What a
pretty nuts.
steal.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's that. But yeah, no, it's interesting. It's interesting. I'm not really been using class 5. I've used the Corund occasionally on runs where I'm expecting to run into people and
Mhm.
I'm not in CQB and I'm kind of going outside. I was outside shoreline looking for quest packer, not packer, Punisher. Punisher kills. That's the one where I'm tend to be using it. Because anytime I'm going to be in close quarters, I just feel like I'm going to get shot in the eye socket. I do. And the chance of getting a headshot is quite high. And you really have to take that into account. It's problematic. Even wearing a level 3 visor in factory, which I did last time, I thought, oh, I'll just take the kiver in anyway and boost my volume up. And someone shot me with PP ammo straight through the face. And yeah, it's difficult. I was looking into the next stage of that, which is the helmet again, is helmets that I've just never ever used. The Is it the 2 DTM, which is class 4 and class 4 on the visor? There's one which is class 4 visor and class 4 helmet, and I think it's LSA. They've all got funny
Yeah,
names in there. LSHZ
LZSH.
2 DTM, I think it is, and that's got
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's the one with 4 on both.
Oh, wait.
Ragman 3, you can now buy whatever it's called. You can buy the visor from him, which is better. The
Right.
helmet is still quite expensive, but I think it's 70,000 or ish. But you can get the visor from him, and that's maybe a potential because class 4 on the face will save you from a shot. That will
Yes.
save you from a shot. You might not die instantaneously. Maybe if someone's using BT, but you might not die instantaneously. So I don't know. I think that's really tempered my want to use class 5 a lot, just because I just feel like you need to be outside and fighting at a reasonable range so that people can't just spew bullets at your head until you die. And most of the helmets at the moment, I don't know about you, but I feel like when I'm wearing the Ratnik, it hasn't saved me ever. This wipe, I haven't had any ricochets. Worn the TC 2002 quite a bit. It's got no ears protection, so that hasn't saved me at all. I've had no ricochets from that. I don't think I've had a helmet ricochet, maybe one helmet ricochet this wipe so far, and it was right near the beginning, and it was against PST. And I think I was wearing a level 4, but it's just been headshot city through visors, through level like class 4 helmets, through anything. Doesn't seem to matter,
Hmm.
which has made me very scared of the headshot. I'm reluctant to take in lots of things with my head unprotected. I don't know.
I played a couple of raids of Arrowing the other day on customs, and you lock, man. Like I was bringing all my good gear. I figured
Mm,
if I die, he might be able to ditch it.
yeah.
And I had Santa bags sitting and pilgrims sitting in my stash because you can't. I mean, you can vendor them, but it's just like
Yeah,
you can't
may as
flea
well use them.
market them. Yeah, like let me just go and use them. Anyways, a ULOC saved my life, dude. Probably 5 times that raid. It was like or those raids. It was insane. I really like the ULOC. It feels really good this swipe, especially because there's not ammo's a little bit more because BT's 50% chance on class 4. So is
Yeah,
56A1. There's what's the other
those
one?
AP20.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff
AP20.
at 37 pen. There was a lot of ammo at 37 pen. I think
Yes.
37 pen is the deal. People don't realize necessarily just how big of a deal 37 pen is and how many ammos are in that particular category. It's crazy. If you have 56A1, BT, SS190,
Yeah.
AP20 slugs. And they're all 37. And then you've got a couple around it, like subsonic at 36.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why FMJ is so good because it's 40 for the MP7 and 40 just goes whoosh, sells straight through 90%. That 3 pen makes all the difference. But anyway, yeah, you luck. I
I
should probably use it. I think it might be
I
worth the money. I don't
I
know.
think it is because you can snipe them for like even the black ones for like 60K
Mm,
easily. You can get the tan ones, but they stick out way too much for my preference. I
yeah.
don't know. They are a little bit cheaper, but yeah, I prefer like the what is the ones? They're like ACCH or A the HiCom.
Oh yeah,
They're
yeah.
basically a U-lock without ear protection, and
The high cut one. Yeah.
I just swear them off, man, because if I'm gonna wear a class 4 and doesn't cover my ears, as soon as I get the screen that's like head ears, I'm gonna smash my keyboard.
And, well, it
Gotta
was when I
have the
was
ears.
making the face shields and visors video that it made me think more about the ballistics and about why ears is so important. And the fact that ears covers that piece here means that normally you're getting shot at from an acute angle anyway, which means that you're actually much more likely to get a ricochet
Mm,
because of the angle that that hitbox gets hit at. Because I believe that the head is just modeled as a sphere anyway, and that rounds they decide on which hitbox they hit based on the. I think it's something like the center of the sphere versus the angle of the round on that particular. I don't know the outside surface, I suppose, and it is just a sphere that's split into different segments. It's not like those hitboxes are distinct, so to speak. It's all one hitbox, but the particular angle that it hits, it ends up going getting allocated on like a table to which hitbox it is. So you end up with the ears hitbox always, if you're facing them straight on, then you end up
mhm.
with quite a shallow angle, and so you get a lot more ricochets, which really does help. And yeah, there's a few of those helmets like the TCs are the same, TC 2002, whatever, and they're really
Yeah.
cheap, probably for a reason. They vendor for 32K. You can buy them for 32K off the fleet. They're not actually a great deal more than you do the two bleaches. They're 9,000 each or something, and 18K. You spend 10K more, and you basically get one of those things. But the class 4 on top, it's well, top of nape. How many times you get shot in the nape? I got lower nape the
Right.
other day, by the way. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What
That
is this?
sucks.
But
That sucks.
but yeah, top and nape is just it's very annoying. So at least you get that ears ricochet hitbox, and
Mhm.
it's class 4 2. It could be interesting. But right now, I'm just running no helmet, pretty much, unless I have them in my stash. I'm just running no helmet at all at the moment, and running quite cheap loadouts. I'm not really using anything that expensive.
Mhm.
It's been kind of funny. Yeah.
On, you were talking about the ZSH-1-2M helmet. I looked it up because drive me bonkers.
Okay.
The I don't know if you did this or not, but if you turn in Chemical Part 4, the skier, you unlock the black version, which is on Ragman 3. Because the green version's on Ragman 2, but you can't get the visor for it. The visor's on Ragman 3. And the black version is cheaper than the green because that's how it works. But anywho, I
I'm
remember
guessing everybody has that because everyone fans a chemical to skier.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember Pestily said always turn this into skier because you get this helmet. It's a good helmet and it's cheap. That's like ingrained in my brain from my early days of learning Tarkov.
Yeah.
But it's never really been a helmet that I've used. But the swipe I've used it a bit, um, which is cool. You know, I like using like this swipe. I don't. I should say last swipe. I don't think I've ever would have used the M2 rig
Mm.
like ever. But this swipe, it's like, yeah, I can totally, or even the tech. Like, I don't think I would ever use a tech.
Really, I quite like the tactic.
Oh man, not like in my more recent wipes. It's just like garbage, you know.
Straight to ACPC.
Ew, yeah, exactly. Ew, this thing's trash. Yeah. So I don't know. It's
It's
weird, but
interesting. I mean, yeah, I mean, previously I've never really used PP on purpose for
mm-hmm,
545, and
mm-hmm,
I've used that this wipe a bunch. Just it's interesting. It's how things are flipping up. It's quite
yeah,
different. Talking about ammo, Church.
yes,
Talking about ammo, I'm going to discuss the mighty highs and lows of the 7N40 round, my
okay,
experience with the trials and tribulations. So okay, so I've released a bunch of videos about
mm-hmm,
recoil, RAM recoil, 7M40, all the stuff. I was doing loads of testing, looking at tons of different guns with different recoils, with different calibers, with different types of rounds. And the first set of things was about 7M40 itself and the recoil reduction, blah blah blah, right? And so I was doing lots of interesting analysis and thoughts. And so clearly on me, I had my meta AK. I had a not meta, but decent 7.62 weapon. I had a P90 in my bag. I had an MP7. I had all my
okay.
subsonic rounds. I had all my 7 and 40 rounds. I had 90 rounds of Igolnik. And then I queued into factory by accident as PMC at night because I was just like running a scav. I was going to run.
No.
I was testing out the scav night run thing as well because people were talking about it to see whether it worked with the boxes. So I just click next, accept, and then I was going on doing something else.
Oh,
Load into raid. Okay, let me flick across the thing. Oh no, it's my PMC. Which spawn am I even at? Because I wasn't paying attention. I was probably didn't even look for 10 seconds or 15 seconds or something. Which spawn am I at? I hope I'm not a glass corridor, but I'm down by gate 0. Look in my bag. Yeah, I've got all my stuff on me. I've got all my 7 and 40 rounds on me. And I
no.
thought, oh, and I unloaded and was like, oh, I have one 7 and 40 round in the mag. And then the rest of it's other stuff. The rest of it's like US or oh
Mm-hmm.
no, sorry, it was Igolnik. I was like, well, I know I've got more Igolnik, so it's okay, that's fine. But at least I've only got them top loaded. Little did I forget that I loaded them sequentially, so it was 1 and then 2, 3, 4, 5 into like tons of mags. So I actually had all of it on me, but I didn't realize, so I didn't put it in my secure. And went through, but I had no flashlight. I had no factory exit key, so I had to go out of gate
Yeah.
3. What I should have done in hindsight, because I kind of panicked a bit because I was
Yeah,
in the middle of
sure.
doing other stuff. I wasn't ready to play a factory raid,
Yeah.
and not a 20-minute factory raid. Let's put it that way. So what I should have done was I should have hidden around the corner and just waited and kept my headphones on and just really ratted it out, and then waited right to the end and then left. That's what I should have done. I didn't. I tried to traverse through the map, and I got near to gate 3, and some dude was patrolling around there with his flashlight and killed me, shot me through the eye, obviously, with match FMJ ACP. And I was very, very sad. I kind of had to take like about 4 to 5 hours of thinking about Tarkov, even looking at it, turn off all of Twitter, everything. I was like, I can't actually even look at the game right now. I feel so sad and so sick because it was all of I'd realized when I got back to my stash, it was all of my 7 and 40, and I did not have any more. And I hadn't
Dang.
recorded the footage yet for the second part that I wanted to make. And I was like, I'm going to have to do the second part of the video with US rounds for 545 because I've lost all of my meta rounds because I'm a dumbass. So that's my
Dang.
story, Church. That's my story. And I felt really bad about it. And it actually feels kind of funny now, but I actually felt a little bit sick because normally like it's just video game pixels, doesn't matter, but I was like, I actually wanted to make some content with some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I could spend another 400k and buy another meta AK if I so wanted to, but that's not really the big deal. It's the fact that I lost the 30 rounds of the rarest ammo in the entire game that you only get out of airdrops that I've only ever found once, and that I want to specifically talk about. That was the thing that made me really, really angry. So anyway, I did all the footage, and then like 2 raids later or something, I killed some guy who'd found an airdrop. I saw the airdrop first, came in afterwards, shot the dude as he was going under the bridge in interchange away from Idea side. They were going off to railway. There was 2 of them. Shot the first guy, and did a big wheel around because I thought, well, he's going to camp the body, and I need to do some other stuff. So I went to go do some other stuff. Came back and thought, well, I may as well go and check him because maybe they were both loaded down. He couldn't have taken the dude's stuff anyway. Went back with kind of 10 minutes to spare because that's what I had time left for. And yeah, he had all of his stuff on him, dog tag, everything. The guy hadn't taken anything, so just took all of his stuff, and he had 30 rounds of 7 and 40. I was like, hey! And then yeah, the scav on Woods, when I was doing another quest, I think it was one of the plant the things chumming or one of those. He had another 20, so now I'm back to 50. So it swings and roundabouts, but yeah, honestly, what a roller coaster! Jeez, dude, it was that was the terrifying lows of Tarkov, the proper terrifying lows. I could have sworn I clicked scav when I pressed into that night raid. I could have sworn it, but I've been getting lazy and I just pressed ready. I just went click, click, ready. I didn't even go through the insurance screen or anything, and just straight through. So I didn't really look at my character. And I think I had the spinning character loading thing, so I couldn't see which model it was even. Because it would have been obvious that it was the PMC. But sometimes when you're loading in, I guess you get this too, you don't even get to see because it's just a spinning circle. You can't see which character it is. And I could have sworn I'd clicked scav, but apparently not. A small part of me was hoping that whoever it was would message me afterwards. A little part of me was hoping that someone would be like, "Hey man, what is going on here? This is nuts." And me to be like, because I was so angry, I didn't actually save the guy's name, and I was going to message him, but then I couldn't remember what he was called, and I was going to genuinely be like, "Dude, you can keep all the stuff, and I will bring you extra stuff if you want. All I want is those 30 bullets back. That is all I want. You can keep everything else. I will bring you another meta AK if you want. Like, whatever you want, tell me. I'll bring you a manual. Whatever you want from me. Military tube. Whatever. Please give me those 30 rounds back." I was so tempted, but then yeah, I didn't record it because I wasn't even recording, because normally I record everything. But it was a Scav Night Factory raid, so I don't record those. I was just doing it for loot and testing out the containers things. So yeah, I didn't have the guy's name, and then it was just despair. Distress. That's all I can say. It was just, it was awful. It was awful.
I think I would, if I was in your situation, I'd probably go on a big giant bit of baby rage, dude, and go make a Reddit post or something like that. Like, I noticed you said a lot of the emotions you described, you were like, I was just sad. Like, you started off sad, and then towards the end, you were like angry. Which was it more? Was it just like despair, as you said, or was it just pure rage?
It was definitely sadness. It was like, the feeling when, let's say somebody asked you to do something and it was really important, and then they say, "Hey, did you do that thing?" and you forgot, and the bottom just drops out your stomach and it's just cold. It was like that, basically. That's the best way to describe it. And then I thought, I'm not going to live this raid, am I? And once I was set myself up for failure because I didn't have sights on my guns. Church, like the whole thing was completely shafted. I think I had a rat rig on and 4 guns, none of which had the right stuff in them. I had random bits of US packed into, it was US and a Golnik and 7M40 packed into different mags. I had the MP7 with all sorts of garbage. Half the rounds weren't even packed into magazines. They were all loose. It was just despair. It was just despair. But anyway, we managed to overcome that. And the video that I did about recoil really went quite crazy, actually. A lot of people checked it out, which was cool. Which was basically like, yes, rounds now have the recoil stat working, and 7 and 40 is broken, and there's potential for some other things, which was on the follow-up. And after making that, so Erin popped into my chat and spoke to me about it a little bit. Like a ton of people on YouTube were talking about the potential for kind of top loading as well. And I hadn't really thought about it properly. I didn't really know what people meant. Somebody said an accuracy bonus for top loading the top round or something. I thought, okay, so the first couple of people who mentioned something along those lines, I thought they meant the old bug where no matter what ammo you had, if you just held the button down, it used the stats from the first round, which definitely isn't the case after I've tried it. But I think that used to be something a long time ago.
Hmm.
People thought maybe it was still in. So if you stuck one round in that was lower recoil and then you had a Golnick underneath, you wouldn't have the Golnick recoil on those subsequent rounds
Okay.
because the first round it was using those stats. That's not the case because if you go half and half, you go like tick 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 tick, and then the Golnick kicks in and it's like bob 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 bob. It's horizontally actually where you really notice it, which is quite interesting. But it's very
Interesting.
clear when the Golnick kicks in. But so there was a lot of people who spoke about that and mentioned it. And after kind of I got the idea from, it was probably about the third or fourth person who said it. And I thought, oh, actually, yeah, no, that does make sense. And went to go and have a look at it. And it's potentially interesting to, in short, load a couple of low recoil rounds at the top. It's only specific situations that it works in. I had a ton of people being like, "Oh wow, what happens if you want to try and get one tap headshot, but you've got the US round loaded in there stuff?" I'm just like, dude, I'm just telling you this is how it works. Like you can
Yeah.
use the information however you like. I'm not telling you to do every raid. I'm not telling you to do it in every mag. You can do what you like. Somebody did have a great idea in the comments, by the way. So imagine you load, I don't know, 3 rounds of US into the top of your 545s just because it's way cheaper than 7, or you can get it, and
Right.
it reduces that recoil if you're spraying at somebody. And well, you can actually rack the bolt 3 times if you really do need to, and you have the time to line up a shot with something that's higher pen. So if you've got your Golnick underneath it, for example, or even BT, you can and pull those rounds out of the
Huh.
magazine, and so you can get to your good stuff if you
I've
need to.
That's
It
interesting.
was an interesting one. It's like, again, is it always good? Well, but in the situations that I'm thinking about, look, it's just like it's a thing. It's a thing you can do. Do it if you want. Do it if you don't. It might be useful. I don't know. I think for something like, because I had lot of discussion with people about something like the P90
Yeah.
with SB193 and
9-3.
SS190. And
Yeah.
what's interesting is that, so SS190 goes up and down. Fine, every other round. Right. The P90 recoil is low, but you still get the recoil. Recoil goes up, recoil comes halfway, and then it's steady. 193 also does that. So it comes up, and then it
hmm
comes halfway, and then it stays there. But it's just very small. The pattern's quite small, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not the biggest deal ever. But doing the 193 and then the 190 thing, you don't get that pattern. I think this is kind of the point. Maybe I didn't emphasize that enough because a lot of people were talking to me about it in the comments, but you don't get the up and down pattern. It just goes up and then stays up. There's no bump. The bump disappears completely, which is
Because
pretty cool.
like you get the climb of the lower recoil, and then you
Hmm.
get the
The
steadiness
steady.
of the
Exactly.
higher ammo.
Exactly.
That's super interesting.
So even though SB193, the recoil is very small and easy to control, with the combo,
hmm
you don't have to control it really at all. You just have to pull down a little bit at the start and that's it. And then it just stays in the same place, which is kind of cool. I thought that was almost the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't spend as much time with the MP7 as I would have liked actually on this. I focused mostly on the P90, but the principle should be the same. I didn't test it as much as I wanted to though. So I don't know. But there's lots of ways to do it, and it's cool. It's interesting. It gives some more variety and some potential if you're going full auto really, which needs a little bit of a help. I think needs a bit of a hand. I don't know. I just wish that the 762 USs were not at Prapor 3 because I think being a Prapor 3, no one's really going to use them.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit too far down the progression.
Because
But,
can't you get BP from Proper 3 once you complete Punisher Part 6? I want to say. Let's
but you
see.
get which, sorry?
762 by 39 BP.
BP. Oh, BP, yes.
Yeah, so basically what I'm saying is like you're choosing between US or BP essentially.
Yeah, and
So
it's
it's like
quite
it
a
feels
big.
yeah, and US
Hmm.
is lower pen than PS, but it's at a level
Yeah.
3 tier. I mean, I get it. It's subsonic. It has the recoil reduction, but it just kind of feels like maybe that should be a tier 2. I agree.
Yeah, it works less well for 7.6.2 in my opinion, but
Mhm.
I don't know. It's cool. It's interesting. It's something
Yeah,
different.
for sure. I I feel like what they did, my belief is that post this patch, ammo was inconsistent. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. Like, I swear by my recollection of my testing in my video that US ammo didn't work, but it could just be that that recoil was so low and my testing methods were not the best that it would have been really hard to see the difference, you know? Whereas
Maybe.
now they scaled up the recoil, so
True.
now it's a lot more evident. Like, I think you said you used to use subsonic for the P90, or sorry, MP7,
And the MP7, yeah.
but
I've always had a soft spot for the MP7 subsonics.
I know, I know, but did you feel like it did anything? The recoil reduction?
I want to say
You
yes, but
want
I'm not sure.
that's the thing. It's like we want to believe it. I felt
I
like, but
know. I feel like when I used to fight down Office Corridor with the subsonics, I could land shots more easily down there because I
mm,
always felt that FMJ was slightly too uncontrollable for that distance, which I never want
okay.
to feel like my SMG is outranged by the terrain in factory. That was the way that I felt about it. And I always did think that it mattered because the MP7 with 50 recoil on the A1 because I'm a cheapskate and FMJ ammo with a 900, is it 900? I think, was it 950? I think the MP7 is the 950,
950.
isn't it? The 50 recoil is no joke when you're firing at 950
Yeah.
RPM, let me
Yeah.
tell you. And even the office corridor feels like a small stretch. It
Yeah.
can start to stretch a little bit with that initial boost as well. It
Right.
really,
Right.
it's half the height of the corridor,
Mhm.
unless you're controlling it really, really well. But again, it's difficult because the RPM is so high. So I always used to like the subsonics, and I do feel like that. I can't guarantee this, but it
Yeah,
feels
yeah,
it
yeah.
feels like it used to work. I think it did. I think it did, but I just can't tell. There's no way to know.
Well, at any rate, I'm just glad that US ammo's gotten some love because I swear it did nothing in the past and now it actually has a use. Like it actually does what it says it does and it's very noticeable too. And with the as I mentioned, the recoil changes being increased, right? You really start to feel these a 50 recoil M4 does not feel like a 50 recoil M4 last patch. Like it's very noticeable that that recoil. I'm
Mhm.
seeing a trend of like DMR single fire guns. I'm seeing a major trend in the ammo that reduces recoil, like we talked about S193 and subsonic for the MP7. Like it's always sold out. I've been watching a ton of Landmark YouTube
Oh,
videos.
really?
Yeah.
They are funny.
Oh yeah, the content's great, but I've been paying attention to the guns that he's been
Mm,
using and seen a lot of umps, which I think that's like it shoots slow and you can put like the base ammo is pretty good and then the AP ammo is also really good, but because it shoots slow, it kind of helps with that recoil.
yeah.
And it has a silencer this wipe, which helps with that recoil as well. Yeah, man, it's crazy, dude. This I really think there might be a viable strategy to top loading with, US ammo or SS193. I've been mostly seeing Landmark just use full mags of subsonic or SS193,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It is with the MP7 and the P90, it is actually completely viable to
mhm,
use those rounds because yes, we said that the FMJs are really good. They're 40 pens, they pen straight away. But the subsonics are 36 pen, which is again, it's in the 50% pen range.
mhm,
So you might absorb one or two rounds, but it's 950 RPM. So you're really going to hit them hard and quick and
Yeah.
fast. And it's the same with the P90. There's 900, and that's the difference between. Gosh, I can't even remember because the one is 37. So yeah, 190 is 37 pen, and the other one is 35. I think
Yes, I
193,
think you're right.
which is even less meaningful. Actually, it goes from 30% to 50%, and you hit them so hard. I remember last wipe killing a dude in a Gen 4 with the P90 anyway with 190. So it doesn't really matter. And again with the MP7, I've killed people in Class 5 armor with the MP7 with FMJs because it fires so quickly that
Yeah.
it just brute forces its way through the armor regardless.
Yeah.
So Class 4 hardly stands a chance, you know, which is pretty cool. Where I do think it makes a difference, and this was kind of the whole point of the whole thing, really, was that 7M40 is super rare. Anyone only has like 30, 50, 60, something like that. Nobody's using it. It's all going to sit in everybody's stash until the end of the war, unless they put in some barters or something. No one's ever going to use this
Okay.
stuff. So here's a way to use like 3 at a time and not feel bad about yourself. And it might help. And the round's still really good. This is the thing. You're
Yeah,
basically
that's
putting
really
a
good.
round that's like 55A1 into the top of your magazine and reducing the recoil. It's decent. It's decent. No one
That's
wants to use a
smart.
full mag of it and die in one shot on their way in.
Yeah.
It's just gonna feel so bad. Whereas spicing it up a little bit, I
Hmm.
think it's cool. I think it's really, really good use for it. I do, Church. I do. I think it's great. I think it's
Yeah.
great use for it. I think it's the perfect use.
Next time I get some, I have to do that. Seems a lot better than stacking it in your 60 rounder mag, trying to find Gadil Killa and using it all in AI scavs instead.
Yeah, well, that's the issue with having it in the top. Maybe you need a pistol to kill. Oh, but AI scavs are so hard this wipe. It's so difficult. What
Yeah.
a tricky combo. What a tricky combo. Yeah, yeah. That's what I spend most of my time doing is looking into these kind of things. It's interesting stuff. So the next one I think on the list of mechanics that we can potentially utilize to benefit ourselves is this whole 60 round and 93 durability, where's the threshold, how many rounds can you shoot before you set the gun on fire, and all this stuff. That's kind of what I'm thinking about looking at next,
Huh.
which will be interesting because the big mags are cheap, and especially for the 7.62. But I mean, the recoil's crazy. But I actually had a decent success doing a half Arnold Schwarzenegger minigun style weapon combined with infinite ammo DMR just by putting a big scope on it and a laser. And you just have a million rounds to plink at people because you've got 75 in a big drum and you've got the time to set up because you're sniping with it. And if somebody finds you at point blank, well, you've got a laser on it and you just you just
Yeah.
crank it up and just 6 barrels all spinning, the thing's glowing red, but it doesn't matter. It's great. As long as you don't burn yourself down below 93. I'm still yet to get a failure to feed, and I think that's because of the durability of the weapons that I'm using. And I die too often to use a weapon 4 or 5 times,
Yeah.
such that
Yeah.
it ever goes below that durability, which was always the problem with the old system. It's quite funny. They've cranked the durability damage way
Right.
up, and because most people just, unless you're Landmark or somebody like that, you just
Yeah.
don't keep your guns. Half of the raids that you go into, you die. You know, so
Yeah.
it's a funny one. I don't know. I think there's something to that. We'll see. We'll see.
Speaking of guns, I wanted to talk about the foul. The foul, dude.
Val,
Yeah. I know. What gun is
I
that?
I have not even looked at the FAL slash SA58. I've not even looked at that this wipe whatsoever. So you're gonna have to enlighten me. I've genuinely parked it to one side, forgotten it exists, and I don't know. Maybe it's for another time. I'm not sure. What have you been looking at?
Well, I mean, I usually take my time and look at all the meta builds and see what's changed and,
Mhm.
try to like figure out what's going to be good for this wipe based off changes they made. And, the foul hasn't gotten any love that I could tell. It's still like in the ground, dude, like deep in the ground. It's so weird because, the lowest recoil you can get to is like 77, I want to say. And that's with the RK2, which God, the RK2 feels so bad this swipe.
It
You're
it does.
trading like negative 14 ergo for like 4% recoil reduction?
It is 4,
I
yes.
don't even think it's 5 anymore. And it's like
No, it's 4 now. You're right.
you go let's say you go from, I don't know, an RVG, which is like what, 7 ergo, plus 7 ergo, plus 2 recoil. You're trading 2 recoil for like a effective difference of, what is that, 21 points of
It's
ergo?
a lot. It's
It's
huge.
like, dude, there's no way it's like ever worth it. Like I maybe on an AK that you can put like all the meta parts, because like the AK-103 and like the AKM I think can get pretty high ergo, like up in the 80s, I
Mhm.
want to say, or maybe a MDR. But it's just like, dude, it's that that grip seems pretty dead. But anyways, back on topic. SA-58, 77 is like the lowest recoil, and I'm talking maximum recoil reduction, and it has 0 ergo. Like, I think you can get a few points of ergo if you compromise a few parts, maybe, but that gun is so dead, and it's like, I'm really sad because I really like that gun. Like, back when it was overpowered, we'll say, it was really good, obviously, but just in general, I've always liked that gun. I just thought it was a really
It's
cool
a cool
looking
weapon,
gun.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of sad that gun is just completely dead in the water. And what makes it even more dead is like you can't buy it from the vendor. I think you can only barter for it. You have to do a certain lighthouse quest to unlock it to purchase it for dollars. I think, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you can do the barter from the quest and you can buy it with cash right now. But anyways, I'm gonna try this one build out I have. It's this ultra low recoil parts. I'm not even slapping on like, see, here's what I'm gonna do. Long barrel suppressor, the new was it PWS, PRS, the new meta muzzle
The new
brake
one
that,
for Knights, yeah.
yeah, that takes on that one CAC suppressor. It's
Mhm.
whatever. So meta suppressor, we're gonna do the RK2, we're gonna do the meta handguard, we're gonna do the Mesa tube adapter with the Magpool, most recoil and slot. It's all recoil stats. I'm not even going to replace the dust cover. It's going to stay at the stock one. I'm not even going to replace the pistol grip. It's going to stay at the stock one because it doesn't matter. I'm putting a drum mag in it. Okay. I'm going triple blue lasers
Okay.
and I'm going to canted sight. That's right. I'm abusing the meta, baby. I'm going to skip that ergo, just instant. I'm going to test it and see how it turns out. But it
Interesting.
it's
The
yeah.
shoulder cannon. M80s on auto. 3 lasers in the shoulder, don't even bother ADSing.
Yeah.
There was we were looking on stream at the SVD because the SVD. It's interesting that you mentioned
Mm.
0 ergo weapons. The SVD also got some. Well, I say also, not also. It got some love in that you now are not stuck with the default stock. However, if you try to make it really good with the minimum recoil, then you need to use the PRS Gen 3 stock, and then you end up diving yourself down into 0 ergo
Yeah.
anyway. And that's what chat was saying. Oh, nice gun, 0 ergo. And I said, but well, the thing you're forgetting here is the best part about 0 ergo is that you can't get any lower. So now we may as well just use all of the good stuff. May as well just use the suppressor and everything because now we're already at 0, so there's nowhere to go. You know, we're capped. So now we get all the rest of it for free. So it's just negative recoil
Yeah.
for free on the ergo. The SVD never handled that well, even when you tried to make an ergo build, just simply because of the weight, I believe. So
Hmm.
a high ergo SVD always felt kind of rubbish anyway. If you're trying to scope it for too long,
Mhm.
either crouched
Mhm.
or standing, you do kind of want to be lying down with it. Unless you make a really shoddy build with huge recoil on it that's very near stock, which is the one I used to use for Punisher 6. Run around factory using it like a MP153 with AP20 slugs. That was the equivalent. But yeah, if you put on any of the decent stuff, you end up tanking the ergonomics. I've not used it this way really in anger, so it's going to be interesting to see kind of how that performs because you can get it down to something approximately around 100 recoil. I think it's slightly better than that,
Yeah.
92 or so,
That's
which is pretty good
yeah, that's pretty good.
for that round. It's not bad.
Yeah.
And as chat's saying, M62 for a small amount of recoil reduction too, you get -5. So maybe there's something there, but I have quite a soft spot for the SVD just because it
Same.
fires massive rounds and it's
Hmm.
semi, and it's the only weapon in the game that does that, which is pretty cool.
There is a round. You need proper level 4, but it's a tracer round for the SVD, and it
Hmm.
reduces. It's like I think it's just a tier below SNB. So it's
Oh
like
yes, because what am I talking about? I'm talking about M62s, not even for that gun.
yeah, you're good.
Moron.
I think it's
Is
tracer, like it's
it this
BT.
one? BT, yeah, that's the one. The
Yeah.
76254R BT. Yeah, which is
Yes.
-4. That's the one. That's
You
the
get
one.
a
Yeah, I knew
little
there was
bit
one
of
for that.
a little bit of recoil reduction there.
Hmm.
Which yeah, I can't wait to get on that quest. I just have to also go shoreline and kill a couple more PMCs, but like you, I got really bored of it.
Did you know that you also get 5 recoil reduction from T46M? I'd forgotten
Yes.
about that.
The
I'd forgotten
the
about that.
old
Basically
cheapo.
the same as, yeah, basically the same as LPS. It's not a bad round, 41 pen. Isn't it crazy that that round has one more pen than FMJ for the MP7? That's kind of nuts now.
Yeah. I really
Anyway.
don't I only use that round for loading my Mosins. That's what I was thinking. Every time think of that round, it's like, oh yeah, that's the Mosin loader round.
Yeah, same here. That's what I think about it too, usually.
I did want to ask you about inertia,
Mhm.
and you mentioned Pestily's video from earlier.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Did you test anything with inertia yet that I mentioned to you a couple podcasts ago?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
But I thought you were going to mention the fact that he
I
said what
gotcha.
I said about. I was waiting to see whether you'd say the thing. He said what I said about the AD strafing.
Yeah,
Basically, he
I
said you let go of the button and then you press the button and you get a faster strafe than if you hold the button, which was my takeaway. I hadn't tried any of the forward backward stuff, any of that. I had a very small play with it, very slightly. The problem with my key setup is that my free look's not really on a very good key, so I've never been a great one for running past doors looking sideways because I have it on alt for what it's
yeah,
worth because alt is what it used to be in
PUBG,
pub.
right?
No, it was either PUBG or maybe I moved it there because of DayZ. I think
Okay.
because
Yeah,
basically
yeah, yeah, yeah.
my key config is kind of a Frankenstein of all the games I've played along the way
Right.
that just morph into one, and so I collected a lot of keys during DayZ, and a lot of those morphed into PUBG, and then those ones morphed into Tarkov, and I just kept collecting them and trying to keep fitting them around. And I do change
Yeah.
stuff sometimes, but it means because Alt in Tarkov doesn't really work very well. The modifier keys don't work great for that stuff like that because if you hold Alt and then move and then try and do something else, half the time you would then get stuck looking sideways and your dude's just kind of
Yeah,
heads
yeah.
turning like this, and you have to do a lean or something to try and snap it out of that. So it doesn't actually work that well. I know a lot of people have middle mouse button for that.
Mhm.
I have middle mouse button for something else, which is irritating, and it's a scope related switching thing, which is annoying, and it's one that I use all the time, and it just I would find
You're
them.
right. Yeah.
I just
I
haven't got
get it.
around to fixing my muscle
No, I
memory
get it.
for it, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but we'll see because yeah, I've changed a few things. Like I changed tactical device onto my mouse, but to the hardest button for me to get to because I don't do it all that often. But I needed to move it away from T because the number of times when I tried to put the laser on and I end up reloading the gun just before someone comes around the corner, I had to move it. So I did that. But yeah, I've not tried much more other than just using the strafing inertiary counter thing. I've not used any forwards or backwards shenanigans to try to do any peeking or anything like that. I don't know whether you've had any success. Maybe you have.
I did it a little bit today against a scav. Just kind of messing. I haven't like done it against any players yet. Just I was just kind of messing around because I was
Hmm.
hatchet running on reserve, trying to do that MG quest,
Oh yeah.
and I saw Bake Easy was doing the forward backward thing like a lot, which was really interesting. Um, this is a bit of a random topic. I just watched one of his videos. It was like best clips of 2021, and man, dude, that guy plays like at 1,000 miles per minute, dude. Back when there was no inertia, holy crap, dude! It would just be like, he was running, and then the next frame, he was instantly running in a different direction, instantly already free looking, and then after he was running and got to his destination, he was like the next frame instantly did a 180, instantly looking down the other side of the hallway, instantly run. Like it was so fast. I was like, dang, dude, this guy's a gamer. But anyways, yeah, I saw that video from Pestily and I saw the inertia part, and I thought that we were talking about the same thing, but I was just a bit
Right.
confused as how you were describing it, but from seeing his video, I realized that's what you were talking about, and I realized that I was mistaken, and I have not gotten a chance to test that because it seems that was something that slipped past me. I didn't realize that there was a certain timing to it because I think what I was doing was I wasn't giving it enough of a delay. I was just like instantly as soon as I as soon as I let go of the key, I would instantly press the other key because that's
Yeah.
typically how you know it- in Counter Strike it's just like very responsive. In Tarkov, it doesn't work like that. I want to say like I'm not trying to be too critical, but it seems like it's like a bug. Is that fair to say?
I would say that it is an unintended consequence of the system that they have implemented. Yes, you shouldn't be able to Dance Dance Revolution / Guitar Hero your way into cutting inertia a little bit. That's not the way this is intended. I can almost imagine the two arrows. Duh, duh. You have to press the one and then press the other as it comes
Yeah,
up the screen. And if you do it just right, then you do a little side step and it's
that's
faster than the person who just holds the
that,
button down. It's like that's not how it was meant to be. I'm sure it must be. So it must
yes.
be bugged in some small way because of the way
Right,
it's done. It
right.
must be.
But that's the thing is like how is it bugged? Like, what's happening behind the scenes? Because it's like that's my biggest criticism of inertia is it
Well, my
just
theory
doesn't
was that
seem that
yeah, I know.
it just seems like they said when player A presses this key, accelerate at these values, and then it like, it's let's say the value is like 20 or something. That
Mm,
gets multiplied by their strength skill, and that's the final number.
yeah.
And then when player lets go of that key, decelerate at this value. It just seems it it doesn't seem like a physics system. It just seems like a line, like scripts, like a lines of
Config
commands.
or something.
Right.
Yeah.
It just seems very basic, and I think that's why some of these janky mechanics, like I don't want to say janky, but some of these unintended
It feels a bit
consequences.
janky. It does. It does.
Yeah, it's tough
It does
because
to me.
I like the concept of inertia. I don't want it to sound like I like cringe, bro. Inertia, they killed the game. You know what I mean? I don't want it to sound like that.
Yeah, my theory as a I don't really have no idea what's going on with it, but my guess, if I was going to guess and make a guess as to what it is, I think that acceleration and deceleration have a different value, like you said, and I feel that holding one side and holding the other side applies the acceleration model because you start at from the let's say you're moving left and
Mhm.
then you want to move right. From
Mhm.
the right hand side,
Mhm.
if you set right as positive, then your starting value is -20 going left. And then you have to accelerate from -20 to +20 this side. Whereas when you let go, you go from -20 to 0 using the deceleration model, and then the acceleration model to go from 0 to 20, but you cut out the bit on the -20 to 0. That would be my guess,
Okay.
completely uneducated opinion on what
I can
that
see
might
that.
be, but that would be my theory if I was forced to give it, which I wasn't. Who asked, bro? Who asked? Honestly, my least favorite thing on the internet. That's complete random aside, but that is genuinely my least favorite trend on the internet for a long time. It is the single most irritating thing that anybody can ever write because it is of utter pointlessness and of no use to anybody. Anyway, ran over. I hate who asked. It's so annoying.
I love it. There's a YouTube video. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like, okay, in this video we're gonna systematically explain who asked, and then he goes through like all these like scientific ways. And it's hilarious. I have to
Who
send it
who
to
did
you.
that? Who did that video?
I can't remember, but
Ah,
it's
okay. You have to
funny.
find it. You'll have to find it.
Yeah,
Put it in the Discord or something. Put it in the ScavTalk
will
Discord as
do.
well. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know.
So
It feels okay for the most part, honestly. I don't mind Inertia. I really don't. I think they needs to tighten up slightly, but as I said
yeah,
last time, I think it's 95% there. It feels if the game's completely playable for me, it doesn't bother me really, particularly. I think it's okay. There's occasional moments where I think, as I've said before, the walking when you're walking, it's a bit high. I think
right,
I
right,
don't know.
right.
It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. The game's better with it. I like it.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. Cool. Anything else you wanted to go over before? I've tried not to run this to 2 hours because given we did it a bit later,
Well,
would be better.
about that. About 2 hours, so we can.
We've done an hour 30, I think, according to my
Oh
thing.
yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. Yeah, you got
I
what
was
you
a bit
got.
late. I was a bit late. I'm kind of done with my topics. I think like everything I wanted to cover, we pretty much covered about. Oh, the only other thing that I wanted to say was on the topic of flea market and hideout and crafting and all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff, I actually only realized that so the scav vest, the ripstop barter is the ripstop craft, sorry, is really good. Um, that's just it's been making a lot of money because the scav vest thing. But still, a lot of people seem to not realize that scav vest can be bartered for the
Right.
slickers. But it was only, and I've known this for a couple of wipes, but it was only this wipe that I realized that slickers can be bartered for one of the juices. I actually did not realize this. So there's actually a chain of three where sometimes you can get the juice, you can barter that for slickers, you can then barter that for the vest. You do that 3 times, then you take three of the vests, then you put them in the lavatory, you make them into a ripstop. I actually, there's
What?
something really pleasing about that. When even the slickers are too expensive, you're like, I'm gonna buy some juice instead, and then do the chain of barters, three or two separate barters to get the items, and then do a craft,
Oh
and then
my
sell.
god.
It's hilarious. I did not realize. Maybe it's new. I'm not sure, but it's it's the thing. It's
One.
you don't save that much because enough people know about it
Right.
that, and the juices have got inherent value anyway, so people buy them to use them. So they don't really go that much below 7,000. But it's just a funny one. It's just there's something pleasing to my brain about doing a big chain of things and ending up with something completely different. I don't know.
You
It's just
you
funny.
you want to get some real pleasure? When you buy
Oh
the
yeah.
juice, drink it down to one, then you do the barter.
Here we go. This is it. This is it. This is it. That's excellent.
Oh,
As chat
it's
says, all the
funny.
min max just for some fabric. That's what this game has come to. That's what this game has come to.
Dude,
Yeah,
the
that's
next.
glorious. I love that. But yeah, that's the only other thing that I had written down that I forgot about it. Oh, and actually, given so what was the other thing that I'd not talked about, which was the one benefit it seems of the servers overloading is that it appears to me like the flea market capture system has been turned off because I haven't seen it for ages, and
Oh, I didn't think
I
about that.
spam click the flea market a lot, and it's only when it's there
Hmm.
that anybody notices. When it's gone, nobody goes, "Oh wow, it's gone, amazing!" And I thought, yeah, let's bring that up so that everybody can just praise Nikita and say thank you. The flea market capture thing is not there at the moment, and it's a wonderful thing because I really hate clicking the teapots. I really do. Please click these three Solewas so that you can continue buying your slickers. It's very annoying, and it's lovely that it's not there. So that's a reminder to everybody just to be thankful for the things that you don't always see.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a thing because now that
Mm,
you mention it, I haven't gotten one in what feels like ages.
yeah, yeah. So they must have turned it off because it must have been extra work, I suppose, for the back end with a capital B to
Yeah,
process, I would imagine.
makes sense.
So
Yeah,
they probably turned off all the extra gubbins while the queuing system was in place and everything was blowing up. So whether they turn it back on again, I hope not, but they might
yeah,
turn it back on
they
now
probably
that everything's
will
fixed.
at some point. I would
They probably
imagine.
will. Maybe they think the two slots has helped with whatever the issue is the reason why they don't like it in the first place. It's so hard to bot now. What's even the point of botting stuff? People buying things and selling it to traders? I mean, really? Is that really the biggest problem? I just don't really care. I'd rather not have that than let people take their free ARB profits if they want to write a script. I would like the
Is that
crafts in
what
the
people
right
were
order.
doing?
I don't know, they must be, but I would like the crafts to be in the right order. To hell with the people scripting the hideout.
Yeah, I know,
And
right?
I would like it's just because that bleeds over into a few other places, like the preset system. Whenever you click down into the drop down, you get a set of stuff, and if you click it and click it again, it all reorders. It only does it once, but it's really annoying, especially when
Yeah.
you're trying to make a weapons modding video for everybody out on YouTube, and then you click the thing, you go, oh, there's the thing. Right, let me record my segment. Right, oh, and da 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 da. Click the button. They're all in a different boop order, and I'm like, what? And I have to re-record the segment again. It's very, very annoying.
Yep.
Please keep them in the
Totally.
same order, Nikita.
Totally. You know
What
what they could
this?
do
Uh,
with the
yeah.
hideout? Let's compromise a bit. Just have them categorized. Not like, okay, so there's like a drop down. You
Mm.
got ammunition. I'm trying to think what's like a broader category of that. Maybe like whip firearms and then like I don't know, but you know what I mean? Like classify
Tabs
them.
maybe or something. Yeah.
Yes, just and you can randomize them there, but at least when I go to Workbench, I don't have to go like do a marathon with my middle finger scrolling like freaking fingering the heck out of my mouse just to find the freaking craft I want to do. Like honestly, I probably spend like 2 minutes just trying to find the one craft I want to do sometimes because there's like God, it feels like there's 40, 35 of them, man. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's so
it's
annoying. I think that's a distinct downside nerf when you get Workbench 3 is that there's so many more
yeah.
crafts. You think, God, do I
Even
really need Workbench 3?
oh, it would be great. Like even just having Workbench 1 crafts, Workbench 2 crafts, Workbench 3, like
Even that.
God, that would be so much
Yeah.
better.
But if you could favorite them or something, I know they don't want people favoriting them and then just running them over and over in the hideout when they're not at the computer or something. But I mean, come on, come on.
Yeah.
Is anybody crazy enough to leave the hideout open all day? Have you seen how much GPU that thing uses? Like, it's insane. Your computer works so hard in the hideout. It's absolutely incredible
Well,
because most of the time you're CPU bound and in the hideout because it's so simple, because it is a real map. And it's so simple that
mhm.
it used on my old computer. I used to hear the graphics card fire up, and I don't hear it anymore because this new one's water cooled. But I see it on the chart, and then I think,
Yeah.
gosh, this GPU's under some real strain in here.
Yeah.
I keep it open for as little time as possible, but I really wish that you could favorite a craft and then click on that because, and again, the worst part about it for me is not just the fact that there's a lot of stuff in there. It's when you click into the workbench, it doesn't all load. So you hold the scroll bar down and you're scrolling down, and there's more stuff loading and loading and loading. And then
Oh.
when you collect a craft or something, it then jumps the scroll bar up, and you have to, even if you want to do the same craft again, you have to scroll back down to find the craft because it jumps to a different position. That happens for me anyway. So I've kind of got quite adept at in the pause delay. I know it's a lot better than when they broke it for a bit, where it used to take 30 seconds to collect crafts. That was really, really annoying. But now that they fixed that, it's back to normal, which means there is still a small delay when you click and it thinks about it and then dumps the items into your stash. In that time period, I'm usually scrolling and thinking, how close can I get to back to where I was before with the scroll wheel? Sitting there. Oh, not quite. Need to scroll up a little bit more just to try and get back to it because it always seems to go away from. Yeah, I'm weird, but whatever.
Gamifying the
Gamifying the
janky
scroll
me.
bar in the hideout.
Yeah.
I take pleasure in very simple things, all right, Church? I take pleasure in very simple things. This is
Duh,
how you become happy in life. I've understood. This is the way. This is the way of things. You take pleasure in simple stuff and you just try to just do little tweaks and things that make you feel good inside and it's all gonna be all right.
respect it, man. Respect it. I have to
Yeah.
incorporate a little bit of that into my hideout mini games I play.
Yep.
I found a black key card,
Where?
Giving Tree.
Oh, Giving Tree.
Yeah.
Nuts.
I spawned where did I spawn? I think I spawned in like the water warehouse where there's like a
Hmm.
jacket and some stuff on the shelves you can loot. And I looted that building, went over to customs or sorry, gas station, and I was like, yeah, I'll check out this area, see what's here. Look at the Giving Tree, which is the tree behind old gas. There's like a med bag and like a little concrete circle center block thing, and you just look at the ground of the tree and you can spawn anything in the game. And there was a black card, and I was like, oh, okay, got a black card now. I guess I just put it in my you know, it's kind of weird because it didn't really affect me mentally as much. Like I just played the raid as I normally would,
Mm.
and maybe that's because I don't really know what what it's valued at,
Yeah.
because you can't really sell them for. Was pretty confident I was not going to be able to sell it for rubles, right, on the flea market.
I
Like,
don't know.
well, let's take a look real quick. I'll pull up Tarkov Market. But most from what I saw, it was barters
Yeah, I think that's the usual way, but black, maybe you can sell it for rubles. I don't remember. Well,
because
this is
I
barters, then you should be able to sell it for rubles too. It's probably just the fee is too high. It's probably the reason.
yeah, the fee is too high. Like that's what they did. Like back in, I'm looking at the chart here. Back in like sometime October, they made the fees for the keys higher, where it became just not even worth selling them.
And you can
Uh,
barter it for I don't know, the Merin key or something, or an
yeah,
evasion armband, or
maybe I should look to barter for it. I don't know. Someone in the ScavTalk Discord was talking about they were doing some barters for something. I think they were trying to get green card or something, and they traded like a couple GPUs and some other odd stuff. And I've just like never really found that system to be good, because you have to like scroll through each individual offer, see what's there. Do they last for 24 hours? So like every night you have to relist the barter. Like I don't know, it just doesn't feel very like I guess from my understanding, I haven't experienced it myself, but it just kind of seemed like a poor experience.
yeah, I agree because it's listed in order of what the game thinks the items are worth
Yeah,
from a trader perspective, which is
right.
so bad and it's just wrong, right? And so it's in a sort of random order. You don't really know, and it's just you have to put your mouse over the thing to see what it is. And yeah, Merin, okay. Twitch Rivals armband, okay. GPUs, pack of 16. Is that a scam? I can't remember which way that works. Next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so yeah, I don't even know how the scam thing works. Like, I don't think I've ever done. I take that I have done a barter off the flea market, but that was back in the day when I was a scrub. I'm sure I got ripped off. So yeah, weird
I
stuff.
had I had chat go crazy because I spawned at the Giving Tree and I wanted to go to dorms and I just left. And everyone was going crazy. Genuinely, everyone was
Yeah.
going crazy. You didn't even check the tree. I can't believe you didn't even check. No, I want to go to dorms, dude. It's like I'm not looting. I'm here for dorms. Everyone went mental. People were like, "What am I even watching here?" I was like, "Do you not? You guys know what I play like well enough by now, surely. If you're upset by this, you clearly haven't spent enough time here."
Giga's not a looter, he's a scooter.
I don't really know why either. It's just it just happens that way. It just happens that way.
Yeah.
Not sure. Not sure what the deal is. It's strange. It's strange.
That man, what if that was a red key card there? Game was giving you a red key card, and you just said, "Screw you, red key card."
Yeah, that's what everybody said when I did that killer video as well. And I finally killed him and I finally found him. And I was so scared because there were shots. I didn't loot his pockets. And again, everybody just went "Ree" in the comments for that one as well. That was a good one. But it didn't even matter because the quest mattered more to me than anything else.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
the highest value thing. I did not want to spend a second more at the crossroad section in the middle of interchange with Killer dead on the floor after our altercation. I did not want to spend 1 second more lying on that floor. It was honestly a miracle that I took anything else other than the helmet, if I'm honest with you. But it was a few key button clicks, so that was fine. But I wasn't sitting there rummaging through pockets. No,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
way. No way.
Yeah, no,
Gonna be a bit angry.
I totally get that, dude. Just trying to get that. Usually in the past, I do that quest in like 2 parts. Like I'll kill Killa, but not get his helmet, or like I've already
Mm,
gotten the helmet and had it sit in the stash, and then now I just gotta kill him, something like that.
right.
But
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
on to that one next. I don't know when I'm gonna finish that.
oh, dude, I took a break from trying to do it. It's just and what's happened is power creep, man. Classic case of power creep. They've buffed him, dude, at least 3 times, man. They made him like so you used to be able to stun lock him, right? You remember that? You could just like
Yep.
spam
Shoot him
him.
in the legs.
Yeah. They got rid of that. They increased his HP like at least twice, dude. I want to say more. There was one time where they did nerf him, and I kind of hope they bring this back because they have it a similar thing on Tagilla currently. And that is Killa used to spawn with, I want to say, no armor. Sometimes the ceramic class 4 armor. What is that one called? Is it the oh, 6B?
The 6B43, that
E,
bad one.
6B13, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of those.
Yeah, one of those. He used to spawn with one of those. Like it was either he had no armor, he had a crappier class 4 armor, or he had killer armor. Do you remember that small
I do,
period?
and didn't they change it for? They had a PP19 as well sometimes.
Yes. I he still can. He
Can
still
he?
has
Oh, I
that.
didn't realize.
Yeah. Um, but they reverted that change, which I kind of liked it, but I at the same time I kind of see why they reverted it because it made him kill it too easy, which meant that you could lose pockets for more lab keycard chances. You could take his ammo from his guns. Like it's kind of weird having really good ammo. Like, let me say it like this, right? You kill a raider, you go to loot the raider. He has, I don't know, drum mags of M61s or something. But he has a pack of armor and a USEC hat. Like it's kind of a weird thing. Like he's basically just a walking loot pinata, right? So
Yeah,
if you have Killa with no armor and a Golnix in this round, it's kind of a weird thing. But anyways, so he's gotten so strong, and I think the reason why is they were trying to counteract him being so quote unquote easy to kill because M61 back in the day used to be like everywhere. I mean, you could
yeah,
just you could get M61 like everywhere. And what cuts through class 5 and class 6 like butter? M61. But now that we have all these buffs made to Killa, and then we got this huge player nerf where you can't get good armor and you can't get good ammo reliably like M61. It's made him so freaking hard to kill, dude. I haven't tried Legman or Rip Vector. I've people have recommended me that. I'm just not a big fan of actually, I take that back. I did try it, but I couldn't actually find them, and I
yeah,
used it either way, I used it all on scavs. It's just dude, oh, it's really frustrating, man. Like, I just feel like I'm gonna grind that quest, and it's gonna drain the Tarkov soul out of me. I'm gonna be a really miserable person that day. I'm gonna be
yeah.
really like, I need to make sure I'm not in anyone's Twitch chat because I'm gonna say something really mean to that streamer.
But this is the problem. As you said, they've buffed him multiple times. The players have now taken a massive nerf across the board. And then to top that off, with the changes in his spawns, now he can be anywhere, sat silently behind a box for the whole raid and just kill you in the car park or something. Or you might not see him for 30 raids, 40 raids, and you only get that
Yeah.
one chance. It's really difficult. All of those things combined, and everybody has a quest to kill him. I can't imagine anyone now is going to get the 100 killer kills thing. I think
I'm
they've made
sure
it a
there's
bit,
some psycho out there that's
maybe
gonna
somebody,
do
but
it.
just even just finding him is hard enough.
Yeah. I looked at a map and it's in the garage of Ollie, in the garage of Idea, in Ollie, his usual Kiba, Brutal, Adik, National Mantis spawns.
Yeah.
And then he can spawn up top, kind of like in the food court area. So it's kind of hard to get a really efficient path because you basically want to start at either Ollie or Idea, hit the underground, hit the main store itself, and then traverse to the center of the map, and then hit that, and then go to the second floor, and then traverse to the other side of the map, the other
Not getting killed
store.
by any players.
Yeah, it's kind of, and it's like it just makes it really hard because some of the rotations is just weird. It's like, oh, I'm underground. I've already checked the store above me, but if I go underground to the other store, like Ollie, to check that underground, I can avoid the dangers of the center of the mall, which is kind of nice. So I don't know. It just kind of makes the rotations weird now that you got to check all these other spawns. But yeah, long story short, what I was saying originally was Tagilla can spawn with the new rig, the ones that Ragman sells. I forget the name of them.
Oh, is that the Strandhog?
Yeah, I think
And
so. One of those two.
maybe the MMAC. I think it's the Strandhog you can spawn with.
It's got to be the one that has the three by one.
Yeah, that's the Strandhog. Yeah.
Yeah, which I like because it's less of the meta, the best in slot gear circulating, and it makes him easier to kill, but it's like still a good armor. Like I kind of like that, and I kind of wish they maybe should bring back that feature or that mechanic to Killa and have him also have a chance to spawn with lower armor because dude, he's so freaking hard to kill, man. The AI is already like annoying as heck, dude. But yeah,
The AI
but
is correct. The dude power slides and kills you with a golden rounds out of a drum mag. He has level class 5 armor and class 4 and 6 on his head. He can be anywhere. Doesn't have any guards, so there's no other indication that he's there.
yeah,
You have to play interchange, which is a very big point, which is just, you know, you
yeah,
have to go to that. You have to actually willfully load a character up with things that you care about
and go
and
to
press ready on the interchange map, which by itself alone is a proper problem factor. Random point for you. Did you know the Strandhog's actually worse than the MMAC when it comes to durability? I always found that quite interesting. It's
Did
actually
they?
worse.
Yeah, I think I do know that from your video, which everyone should check out,
Yes.
your class 4 armor guide. Now, did they
Yes.
change the placement? Because it used the better one used to be at Ragman 2, but then they reverted. Is that what happened?
I don't think so. I think it's all the same. I don't think
Oh,
there's
is
anything
it?
different
Okay.
about it. Yeah. Yeah. Because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to buy the MMAC or continue to buy the MMAC, which I still could before. I'm pretty sure it's still Ragman 2. I don't think it makes it's a barter, so I don't think it makes any difference. I think it's the same as it was. Just having a quick look on the wiki, but I'm pretty sure the Strandhog, because they're both barters. Strandhog's
Hmm.
at Ragman 3. Yeah. But they changed it. So originally, I think maybe the wiki just was wrong because I made an edit in that video, but I already recorded it, so I just put it on screen. But the
Okay.
wiki stated it as 5 sewing kits, which was it was just off the charts crazy. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah,
But then when I actually got to it, because I didn't have Ragman 3, so I couldn't really check. And
I
I
see.
didn't want to go and ask anybody, but it was one zone kit and 2 Kaduras, really. So I think maybe the wiki was just wrong. I can't imagine. Well, maybe they did 5 at the beginning and realized, oh, this is silly. I'm not sure, and changed it straight away. I don't know. I think it's probably more likely that the wiki was just incorrect. I don't know. But no, yes, it's an interesting one. There's quite a few rigs in that category that are all kind of similar-ish when you look at the
Mhm.
overall. The Thor. Oh yeah, actually, the Thor is slightly worse. Sorry, Thor is 70. 6v3 TM is 73. Strandhog is 75. This is effective durability. And MMAC as a jump is like 89, which is good, but it's thorax only. And then yeah, the M1 is 93, and the M2 is 109. It's pretty good. And the Wartech TV110 is 121. So the M2 is really not that far off the Wartech. It's
Yeah,
good. It's good rig.
that's
It's
kind of
good rig.
crazy.
It's good rig. It's good rig. Even the AVS is 140. So M2 being
Yeah.
110 or 109, 110. It's not that far off. Not that far off. Good armor, that one. Good armor. Cool.
Um, there's one last thing as just
Sure.
sort of a, free flowing thing. Uh, dude, setup on customs is just like bully central. I'm sorry, dude. It's so. I was trying 50 BGM because I had Jaeger 3 at the time. I think I still have
Mhm.
Jaeger 3. And I had a couple saved up from either playing, like killing players that had it, that were running it
Right.
on the shotgun quest themselves, or finding it. And it was doing okay. I did get in one fight, actually a couple of fights where I just felt like I was like really just laying into this guy and he was not dying, and then I was the one dying. But later on, after watching a bunch of landmark videos, I'm like, okay, let's give these flechettes a try. I just had to wait for the Jaeger reset to hit because it's basically like landmark runs like Erwin calls it the landmark effect. He posts a video, he does a stream of a certain gun and a certain ammo, and it's just sold out. Which, by the way, SS 193 you can buy unlimited of, whereas
Oh.
190 you are limited to like 200 or something. So
Yeah.
a little interesting back there, but yeah. So flechettes, customs, and because I don't, I I'm gamifying. Like I feel really bad doing it, but it's just like, man, it's just like I want to be efficient in my time. Like I don't just want to
Yes.
rush storms, you know, because why am I gonna fight? I have to kill people with this less than ideal gun, you know.
I don't want to fight sweaty juice lords with BP.
Yes. So let me just sit at construction and just wait for gunshots near CC or rough roadblock and go kill the level 3 bear with a pistol only. Like, dude, I feel so bad, but it's like, oh man, I don't know, dude. I kind of like it because it is kind of not like you're using less than ideal gear, but at the same time, they've changed that quest because before you could wear ear or you could not wear ears with the Ushanka hat because you
Yeah, it was
gotta wear a
horrible.
scav vest and you gotta wear a Ushanka hat. And now trust me, I love my ears, but I kind of feel like because I have class 5 armor too. It's just like, dude, they have to get me in the head. They have to, or have leg meta like a shotgun or something. But I don't know, it feels really bad, man. Like, I don't like and for that reason, I really don't like customs that much because it's like a mixed bag. You get geared players, like, PvPers, and then you get just guys just brand new to the game, man. They're like so like, dude, this one guy, he came into Crack House where I was looting, and I'm
Yeah.
like so as soon as you come into Crack House from rough roadblock side, there's like a little office area, like a little
On the right.
check-in. Yeah, and it has like a jacket and some ammo spawns in there. I'm in the room past that to the right where there's
Okay.
also a jacket, a table, some food, and like a duffel bag on a chair. So he walks in And, like, I can already tell this guy's kinda clueless because he just starts looting immediately, and, like, I wasn't, like, extremely quiet, so I'm, like, moving up to him, and I'm just sitting there waiting, like, finally he realizes that there's someone else here, so I'm just sitting there waiting for him to peek, and he's, like he's trapped, like, he's so screwed right now. So I'm waiting. I shoot at the wall, right, like, next to him just to, like, see what he does. So he just kinda, like, walks out, and I just blast him in the head, and it's just like dude, I feel so bad. It's just like, oh, man. So, I think that they made Marked Room Key rare this wipe to sort of de-incentivize customs farming a
What do you
bit.
think? Yeah, interesting.
Maybe.
Mm,
It's hard to say, right? Because you could say the same thing about, like, the library, the green batteries being, like, more rare, adding these, like, military tubes, military corrugate hose for, like, the, air filter unit, right?
yeah.
I can kinda see, like, they wanna slow down progression, maybe they wanna get some people on some other maps like Lighthouse instead of Customs, so I don't know. But, yeah, I just feel really bad doing that, dude. It sucks, but I gotta progress, I gotta get that EXP, you know what I'm saying, Timmy?
Come on, Timmy, come here. How have you found the flechette performance? Because I've always found it really mixed whenever I've used it.
I think there's a lot of things going on. So, one, the recoil changes make Magnum Buck and AP-20 really difficult to
Mm,
use.
okay.
The fact that class 5 and class 6 armor aren't easily accessible. Class 5 is, like, semi-accessible, but you have to be high level, right? So you run into a lot of level 4 armors, and the thing with flechettes is it doesn't have if I recall correctly, I could pull it up, but it doesn't have
I'll have a look.
super great pin, but the armor damage is really high.
Yeah, it's 31, the pen.
Yeah, which that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
You can go straight through, what is it? Class 3.
Yeah, straight through class 3. And that's one pen under PS, so it's a 20% pen, I think, against
Mhm.
class 4, which is not amazing, but it's not bad.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, it does great armor damage, so it'll with that pen value, it will shred armor, which is what people always say, but I find that people just don't die when I use it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think what it comes down to from what I've noticed just watching Landmark use it and
Mm,
from my own experience, it actually feels a lot better to hip fire it versus ADSing because you get a lot of the camera. I guess it's the camera, not camera shake, but
the
w
recoil, like
camera recoil, yeah. I think you get
mm,
a lot of that, or maybe it's just the recoil of your actual sight moving, like the actual gun moving. But when you're hip firing, because it is a shotgun and it doesn't have a huge recoil penalty, like it actually has none. It has no recoil penalty, like the actual ammo itself.
yeah,
Whereas like AP Slug has a 50.
hefty.
Yeah, hefty. So I think it just sort of you kill them by sheer volume, essentially. Like before, if they had class 5, they'd be really chunky, but since the average is running it, class 4, I think it's
Yeah.
actually really viable, like really viable actually. Feels really good.
Yeah, that quest is the welcome to Tarkov quest, isn't it? It's like, right, go back to the beginner map and just slap people with shotguns.
Yeah,
People who are new, that's the way. Just go back and give them a good
yeah.
slap. Ensure you're the enforcer to ensure that people get Tarkovs and have a bad time.
It sucks, dude. It
Yeah.
I tried to message one guy too, man. I felt bad, dude. I felt bad, but I don't think he was
Everyone's
having
got to
it.
learn some way.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to learn some way. Yeah, I'm not onto that yet. I'm actually not sure which quest I'm locked behind. I think it's maybe bullshit or something that I have to do, which
Yeah. That's the one.
is always a bit of a tricky one solo, but it's fine.
Yep.
It's doable. It's annoying, but it's doable. all of that to look forward to.
Cool. Anything else, Giga?
Cool. No, I think that's it. I think that's it. I'm glad that we managed to do this tonight. I
Yeah.
wanted to do it today still, even though I don't know. Yeah, I think for your schedule it was still a bit later, and for me now it's actually like super late. But it's
Yeah.
still better. It was better for me to make this happen today, so I'm
Well,
pleased. But
good.
yeah, I think that's everything. I think that's all good for this week, and then we'll just see kind of what next week brings, and if I can get some more stuff done, or whatever. I'd like to get to max traders much earlier this wipe than last wipe, so I'm
Okay.
hoping to push it a lot more because I kind of got to about level 35 last wipe, and then just got really lazy and just drifted for ages around level
Mm,
35, 6, 7, 8 a few weeks later. Like it just took me forever to go up the levels. So I would like to focus on it and actually do that this time. Hopefully we'll get there a bit faster with daily quests as well. So I don't know, we'll see. But it's good. Trying to pick the good quests. So yeah, some of the slow ones, when the progression starts to slow down, that's when it gets a bit harder to
yeah.
okay, gotta go back and push through and do this one or that one. The ones I really don't like, I think it's just the dopamine problem where
Hmm.
lend lease and those ones where you can't complete the quest until you've gone to 2 different maps. You have to go to 3 different rooms on so many different maps, and there's
Hmm.
like chumming on partway through, but you got to do the 3 chains here, the 3 chains there, the 3 chains here, the 5 kills on interchange. It's like, oh God, all of that, and you just complete one quest. Couldn't they have been separate quests, and I'd sort of feel a bit better about it. But them all being one quest, it just takes a long time. I never look forward to those ones. The expensive keys for the rooms, and you have to go into a resort, and it's just, do I want to go kitted or not? I can run into like teams of 2 or 3 people. So yeah, we'll see. It's funny. It's interesting. I've not been having that many amazing fights, honestly. I really haven't. It's been a lot of doing quests or just getting bashed on by duos and trios. I've not had any really crazy good fights. Like I've had a couple, but not in the usual ratio, it feels. I don't know, maybe people are
Hmm.
still in tasking, money making, hideout, whatever mode. I guess it's early. It's still early. Gotta give it
Yeah.
time. Gotta give it time to settle, to mature. I've got a few like nasty headshots on other people with no fight whatsoever, where they've just been clipped out of nowhere because I've seen them and they didn't see me.
Hmm.
Which, again, it's fine. I mean, I'd rather it be that way. I'd rather be the one delivering the
Yeah.
round into the other guy's head.
For sure.
But at the same time, it's not that fun necessarily. You just one tap somebody and then move on with your life. It's all
Hmm.
right, but yeah, a couple of exciting airdrop kind of things, but like, oh yeah, it's not. I don't know. It's weird. It feels a bit strange. It feels a bit strange. It does feel like the pacing of the game has changed quite a lot, and people are much less inclined to do PvP this wipe. And I think it's partly because yeah, there's a lot less people that have, even at a higher level, they're a lot less geared than they feel like they want to be playing PvP for. I think you can't now just like right now we both be using level 5 or class 5 armor every raid and would feel a lot more comfortable
Yeah.
playing PvP with the rounds we used to, with the guns that we like having, with the ammo and with the armor. I think everyone's still getting used to it, and I do feel a bit vulnerable walking around in class 4, honestly. So it's yeah, well, it's weird. It's weird. I think it's changed the psychology a bit of whether how much people are actually wanting to take PvP.
For sure. Sure. Yeah. I want to get max traders level 42, and I like to get max strength, and I like to get Kappa, but I was watching Airwings VOD where he was doing Tarkov Shooter Part 8, and historically he's gotten it done his first raid every time. This was not the case this time around. And seeing them pain and struggling, he got it eventually, but just yeah, that I've tried that quest in the past before, and I just get too frustrated. But
It's hard
I
on New Woods.
yeah, I don't know. I was just amazed at the amount of players he was running. Sometimes I guess he's got a certain strategy. So I'll have to take some notes. But yeah, I like to try to go for Kappa as well this way. But we'll see what happens with my motivation and whatnot. It seems like the drops have gotten nerfed a bit. Like they were really quote unquote good drops at the start, and then after that sort of like hype period, they sort of like lower them down. That's like the rumor or like the what people are saying. I don't know. Because it is
Which drops do you mean? Sorry, like
the
airdrop.
airdrops, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because yeah, it's like it's one of those weird things where the higher level you are, the airdrops start becoming less and less valuable,
Yeah.
you know? And I kind of don't like that. You know, it would like it's so weird because it's like I could go like if you could, let's just say the armor wasn't banned, right? And you could sell it on a flea market. Like it could be a money making opportunity, but instead it's just a resource or a chance to get something that you normally couldn't have access to. Like you're fighting over something. I don't know. Like if for like the high level player, it's less worth because you can all you,
Yeah, you can get all that stuff another way.
most of it, yeah, most of it. You know, so
Except for 7
it's
and 40.
yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. It's kind of a weird thing. So I don't know. It's I guess it's cool in that aspect, but for like low level players, but now you know, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird is all. So
Yeah. See how it pans out.
yep.
Let's see how it pans out.
Okay,
Cool.
guys, we're gonna
All
wrap it
right.
up there. Thanks everyone for tuning in. As always, the support and comments in general stuff I've been seeing from the community is great. Um, yeah, it's been great, guys. So best thing you can do if you enjoy the show and you want to support us, the best thing you can do is share it with a friend. Send it to someone who you think would enjoy it and let them know. And I know you're thinking to yourself, church, who asked?
You're definitely right, though. You're definitely
Got him.
right. The biggest thing about the cast is marketing and
Yeah.
people even knowing it exists in the first place. That's genuinely the hardest part about most things, actually, but this in particular because podcasts don't really get pushed on YouTube, particularly because of just the style of content. And I guess they get pushed across the podcast platforms. If someone is looking for it, then that's fine. But it's not quite the same as a 10-minute video appearing. It doesn't have the same kind of, I don't know. It's just a different style.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's something that you get into rather than just watch one video once and then leave it. And then yeah, maybe you get into that particular creator. But podcasting is yeah, it's a bit different. So yeah, definitely share if you enjoy. I know that we both enjoy it, so we appreciate those of you that do and listening and check in. It's always great to hear from you guys as well. On that note, I guess we'll see you next time.
see everyone.
Bye bye.